Okay, guys, so this is LinkedIn Lighthouse for you all. This is just, I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yeah, we do.
Great. Okay. So this is LinkedIn Lighthouse. It's just a little funny name that I've come up with. So I'm really glad that you guys took up your time on a Sunday and came here to join us for this session. The agenda for this session is what I want you to take away from this session is that you guys can start working on LinkedIn in the sense for your own lead generation and community building in the next 10 days or 15 days at most. So I'm trying to make this very actionable as possible for you guys. So this is my little introduction. I don't like social media as such. I'm a writer, but the entire purpose of building my own presence on LinkedIn, or having an inclination to use LinkedIn, was that I did get a few nice leads or even gigs from LinkedIn. Please excuse me for my throat. So I realized that LinkedIn is a place where you can get high quality leads and high paying leads, so as to say. Therefore, I started doing LinkedIn. And what I did was I just scrolled through the platform. I started engaging with people and I realized how things work. And last year, around this time, I was in a full time job as a content manager and content writer. So, as part of that role, I happened to manage three B2B LinkedIn accounts, and I was able to, generate some results for them. And I'm not sure if this is visible here, but yeah. So this is like some 6,000 impressions for a client from a single post. They have around 10,000 following they had at that point in time. And this is 62 custom button clicks. So that 62 custom button clicks is whatever they wanted, like website visits or booking a call or whatever, in a period of around 45 days. So pretty much one lead per day. And after that, their sales team took it over. So that I'm not very aware of how it went. But the point being that if you put efforts in LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a platform that will start giving you results. And I think mostly people who've done other platforms will come and tell you that LinkedIn is easier to grow, given that your ICP or your clients is on LinkedIn. So that is also something that you have to look into. So these are the results. Basically, the previous slide that I shared was result for my clients, but you're not here for to look into the results for my clients. Why you're here is to generate certain kind of results for yourself, for your profile, to generate leads for your own services. So the image at the left is basically a comment from my ICP, basically, because I do ads also. So Justin Rowe is an owner of the LinkedIn ads agency. So I got his attention on my post and he replied and everything. So these are small wins, but we will learn why they matter and how you can get it for yourself. And these are like proper lead generation messages that I got into my DMs. A few of them I'm working with, a few of them I'm not working with, for like, because obviously we are not meant to work with everybody. Like, they might not be ideal for us, we might not be ideal for them, as it goes. So these are some of the results that I've gotten. And also I would like to share this, that I recently started getting active on LinkedIn, probably in December. I happened to join Saheli's cohort, and it did really help me, and it added up to my experience of what I've been doing for like what I did with those three accounts that I handled into my full-time job. And so the basically the role of the cohort was to help me understand things that were not very obvious when you look at it things from an amateur perspective. So hopefully I'll be able to distill some of those learnings for you today. So what we have been doing within a group of WhatsApp group, what I noticed with most of your profiles, a lot of people came up with they shared the links of the profiles, and we went through the profiles, and all the LinkedIn monitors that we have that are doing LinkedIn. These are the common issues that we have found. So the first being lack of profile optimization. What exactly are the issues that we'll get into? No offer shared, because if you look at somebody's profile and you can't tell what they're offering, then there is no way A prospect will come to you and ask you, you won't have an inbound lead. And even if you apply for an outbound lead, if your profile doesn't clearly convey what you do, you will have a very hard time converting that gig or that offer. No visibility in the sense ki if you have not optimized your profile properly, there's certain SEO terms and those things, then you won't appear in search results. There's no relationship building. I'm sure after joining SPF, you've realized, if any of you has done web session, you definitely understand how relationship building can help you in freelance world, because you don't meet anybody personally. It's all online. You have to build relationships. You have to be proactive about it, so that you can you know increase your luck surface area. Just as to say, no authority or thought leadership if you don't show up in a certain way on social media profiles, or just anyway anywhere. Even in life, if you're giving a personal interview to somebody for a job, if you don't show up as a competent person, then there is no chance that somebody will invest their money or their time over you. So that is one problem that we can solve through LinkedIn. Secondly, and the last part is lack of cohesion and consistency. So what does that mean by lack of cohesion and consistency? If your profile is not optimized, if you have no clue what you're doing with your profile, what you're doing with your content, so nothing ties up together. There are certain profiles, when I share the examples, you'll be able to see the difference. They are very well optimized. They are like top profiles from LinkedIn. So you will see that what is the difference between our profiles and their profiles, and how you can emulate things from there, so that you can build your authority and attract leads. So if everything is well organized on your LinkedIn, oh, thank you, Aman. So it's just I'm still talking on this slide only, which says your issues. Sweetie, is screen stuck?
Yeah, yeah, it is stuck. Like, yeah, no, 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 sorry, sorry. It is in the same slide only. Your issues, lack of profile of optimization, that slide only, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no offer shared. I am on that slide only.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. It's all right. Yeah.
Okay. And somebody said session is not being recorded. Session is being recorded. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure about that, but I'm also trying to record. But yeah. Okay, so
Guys,
lack of
I have
cohesion
been
and
recording since the start, so don't worry. We'll upload it. Just note that the Q&A session part will not be recorded, but let's see how the session goes.
okay. Let's move further now. So this last part, lack of cohesion and consistency, you will understand when I explain how everything ties in together. So what is the solution that you guys need to build? Or anybody on LinkedIn who's trying to attract leads or who's trying to build thought leadership, how they can go about it? So the first part about it is credibility. Your reputation matters a lot in business. If you can't create a reputation for yourself, nobody will bother, nobody will care if you have any kind of skills. Because unfortunately, mouths that don't speak don't get fed. That's the rule. So if you show up in a certain way, so if you optimize your profile properly, if you're creating content that builds upon your credibility, that is when you have enough credibility. There will be people who will trust you. They could be your peers, they could be people who have just started, they could be people who are even ahead of you in certain sense. So if other people start trusting you, this is how marketing works, right? If 10 people trust you today, there's a higher chance that 11% will also trust you. So this is the kind of community that can trust you, that can support you, that can introduce you to other people, that can also help you sign up gigs. For example, if somebody comes up to me and tells me that I need a SEO person. Yeah, that's a great reminder. I need to put it in the group. If somebody needs an SEO person, and if they're asking me if I have somebody in my
Hmm.
community, if in my connections, if somebody is doing SEO, and I know you, I know that you do SEO, obviously you will be the first person who will come to my mind. There'll be somebody 10 times more qualified than you, but I don't know that person. I know you, right? So this is how building a community on LinkedIn or on any social media profile will help you. Then the last part is cash, because obviously if you are there, I am assuming that everybody of you is in this session and on LinkedIn to build your business. That could be a freelance business, that could be your agency, that could be just about anything that you're trying to build. So when you go through these steps, when you have certain credibility, then obviously people trust you, you build a community, and once you have these two things in mind, there are high chances that you'll get leads, inbound leads. And of course, right now we're not talking about skills, because that's a completely different tangent. Skills, I can't help you build skills. We are not here for skills in this session. We have other planned sessions that will help you with skills, but right now we're just talking about how you show up on LinkedIn, how you build your profile, how you build your content, how you build your presence. Okay, so I hope you guys are following and agreeing to what I say. Can you just give me a thumbs up, because I'm not sure. I feel I'm just talking to into oblivion. I'm not sure. Okay, okay, okay. So few of you. Yeah. So Abhishek will be getting into your questions. How to showcase your skills? We'll definitely get into it. That's a very important part. So after talking to you guys, I just realized that there are two main problems that you guys face. You don't know your ICP. Because a lot of people, when I look into your DMs, when people DM me and ask me, ki, how do I know what pain points ICP has? Or and the second most common question that I get is about content strategy. So these two things I've tried to cover in a little detail, so that you can implement whatever we are talking about. So how do you go about researching ICP? The first thing being, where do they hang out? Now, there are certain niches that do well on Instagram. For example, if you are a fashion influencer, if you're a fitness influencer, if these are the industries that you're targeting, obviously Instagram is the place for you. If you're targeting CEOs, founders, then you need to look into Twitter, you need to link to LinkedIn, you need to go to Reddit. These are the places where your ICP is hanging out. So what you have to do is basically be there and listen to them. You don't even need to talk to anybody. You just have to observe how they talk about their business, what they talk about. Are they talking about the pain point? If somebody's like the other day, I was into I'm into part of a community of a very say competent brand strategist. So she was just discussing it in within her group if she wants a LinkedIn company page. So that is when I discussed LinkedIn with her, and I just asked her casually that, is this a good time to insert my pitch? And she was laughing about it. So the point is that if you are around your ICP all the time, you will have plenty of chances to pitch them, right? And I would have never done that. I would have never come to know that she is thinking about LinkedIn company page if I have not been on her WhatsApp, within her WhatsApp community, right? And I just casually pitched her. It doesn't matter, she's not going to sign me up because she's not making a LinkedIn page. But now I have told her that I do LinkedIn. So imagine if one of her friends approach her and tell her, Are you know somebody who does LinkedIn? So probably if I have shown up as a competent person and as a reliable professional, it is a high chance that she will think of me, right? But this must be your objective when you are networking with people and when you are showing up on these profiles. See, it doesn't matter if your ICP is not on LinkedIn, but if you just listen to people, you can learn a lot of things. So observation is very important, and you guys should, if you think that there is a scope of improvement within your services and within your business, then you should start observing how people talk about the services that you offer. They'll talk about their hopes, fears, and dreams. Whatever their challenges are, they are bound to talk about it. Even if it's not very straightforward, they'll talk about it. Then you also need to understand what is their lifestyle, what entertainment channels they seek, what is their location. Matlab, if there are certain niches where even tier 2, tier 3 cities can give you good clients. So that is also one important aspect to understand. For example, a lot of you are in video editing. So the point is that even tier 2 cities have some great content creators and they might need your services. So you need to factor in these things. Age group. Sometimes they are very matured age group. Sometimes only millennials could be your ICP. And you also need to understand the industry specific insights for you. Depending on what kind of industry you serve, if you are serving health tech, then you need to understand what are the challenges of people working in healthcare industry, right? It will be very different from somebody into manufacturing sector, somebody into IT, somebody doing a full-time content creation or something along those lines. So these are the things that you need to tune yourself into and get into a habit of observing people when they talk about their services, their business, and their life in general. Another very credible kind of resource is Statista, Crunchbase, and Google Trends. So these Statista is a website where it will actually give you statistics of different industries or what is trending, or it's also like it's a freemium kind of a thing. So for certain insights, you might need to pay. Crunchbase is another one, which is a great collection of all startups that get funded, their competitors, the funding series also, if it's Series A, Series B, or the entire, say, database of the companies that are working in a certain sector. And you can get information before pitching. You can actually have a little look into the company. So Crunchbase will help you that. And Google Trends, again, whatever is trending, because if you are trying to create content, or if you want to understand what niche will, flourish just in a short term, or what has been the trend in a certain niche or certain industry for the past year, you need to look into Google Trends. Next part is industry reports, publication, and newsletters. So a lot of people who are thought leaders, who have a certain kind of credibility, they have newsletters. So find out newsletters on LinkedIn, on their websites, good quality newsletters that publish content regularly. And so you will have a tab on what is going on in your industry. There are certain industry reports also, for example, Hootsuite, or just about depending on your industry, whatever. Like if you are video editing, then you have to look into what Adobe produces. If there are certain publications, if you, for example, you serve SaaS founders, then you need to look into IT publications. They talk about industry. So these are the things that you need to look into to understand what or how you can understand your ICP. Once you understand your ICP, that is the only time when you will be able to talk with them. So don't underestimate this part. And I believe excuse me, I believe Vaibhav did share something on the group, and so go through that, and it has listed some certain specific questions, I believe. So go through those questions. I've not covered the questions because, and also there is one very funny thing that people somehow miss. There are 2-3 common problems across industry. A, losing your customers to competition and not signing up enough customers. And third, not able to retain customers. This is a problem every business in the world will have, So even if you think that I don't have the means to research an ICP, I don't understand how they function, I can't connect with them. So these are 3 things that are common universally. So use those things in your messaging, in your pitching, in your content, and you'll be good to go, at least when you're starting out. I think this is a good starting point. Okay, so please give me a moment. Okay, so this was just the basic part, and now we are talking about LinkedIn properly. What happens is everybody talks about profile optimization. That's step 1, but there is an initial step. That's step 0 that nobody talks about. That is profile mapping. So what profile mapping means is, we'll get into it. So these are just the steps that I have listed, and this is how you can start doing things on LinkedIn, like building your community, building credibility. I've tried to keep it as actionable as possible. So first action will be profile mapping, how we go about it. We'll be discussing it very soon. Then optimization, then content strategy, then actually posting content, engagement. I'm sure everybody knows engagement, like commenting and interacting with people, analytics and reporting, feedback implementation, connection request. LinkedIn newsletter and LinkedIn audio events is something which is I have highlighted in a different color, because we are not covering it here in this session. Because mostly I've seen a lot of profiles are very beginner profiles, and after a certain follower count, 150 or something, you get these things. And also I have not done it yet, so I have no business talking about it. That's why I have left these out. And once you guys have a certain presence on LinkedIn, we can definitely do a session. Anybody, not just me, anybody, Shrita or Sanchita, if they want to do a session on LinkedIn newsletters and audio events, we can arrange it later. But these are the first basic things that we need to take care of. After that, we'll get into newsletter and audio events. Profile mapping. So what is profile mapping? It is the kind of persona you're building on LinkedIn or anywhere in your general discussion, general interaction, sorry. So, if you just look at these adjectives here, you will be able to understand that you might relate to some of these. You might relate to different adjectives under different columns: sincerity, excitement, competence, sophistication, and ruggedness. So these is not something that I've come up with. These are called Acker model. So this is part of branding. I hope all of you understand the basic concept of branding. Can I get some thumbs up? Okay. Okay. Mansa Srijana knows it. I'll have to think how I'll explain it to you. So branding is what somebody talks about you behind your back. It could be you, it could be your company. Exactly. People perception. Yes, absolutely, Abhishek. People's perception about you when you're not in the room. That's branding. So the kind of in simplistic words, if we talk about in a day-to-day language, it's what how people perceive you and what is the kind of image that you project. So it could be of a sincere person, it could be of an energetic or excited person, it could be of competence, like you're skilled and everything, sophisticated, or ruggedness. I hope you guys can actually read these adjectives. I just want you to go through these adjectives, and probably if you are having a notebook and pen, just note down what adjectives resonate with you. You think this is how you come across when talking to people. I'll just wait for 2 minutes. You guys can take a screenshot, of course, if you think that you want to go back to it, and you will have the recording no matter what. But I just want you to think for a bit right now. What are some of the adjectives that you associate with? Just you can actually put it in the comment section. What are the adjectives that you think you associate with the most? Or if you understand the personality itself, okay, I come across as a very competent person, or I come across as a very sincere person, or a little outlaw kind of a person. Ruggedness is something that is a little rebellious kind of a personality. So you guys can just let me know in the comment section, how do you come across? What I'm trying to build on LinkedIn is sincerity and competence. Sincerity. Thank you, Namrata. If it's a little difficult to understand, we'll also get into examples. After that, probably you'll be able to understand it more. I just want you to just think a bit for yourself and see what resonates with you more. Anybody else? AU vibes, absolute Amit. Okay. Anita, hardworking, receptive and meticulous. Yeah, I just want to know what you think. Divya, Dimple, Janni, Kishore, Mamta, sincere. Manasa, Sukanya, sincerity and competence. Namrita, Payal, Papa Kumaris. I'm not sure what the name is. Okay, great. Thank you for your responses. I at least understand that we are on the same page at least. Okay, cool. So we'll just get into examples of how other people on LinkedIn are doing it. See, so this persona, if you look at Jasmine Alik's profile, he's supporting everybody. He shows up daily. He talks about his son. He talks about his passion, his job. He's also a professor, and he's like, if in any, I'm assuming a lot of you already follow him. He swept floors and everything. So it shows how sincere as a person he is, and this is how he has built his persona. So definitely, it was a conscious decision on his mind, right? So this is the persona that is built for himself. Whatever, if there is, if he is very kind, he'll just he comes across as a very kind person. He'll just give a shout out to new creators, right? He doesn't need to do that. Nobody else does it, as far as I know. So that is the kind of persona that he's building for himself. Noshina Chen and Chris Do. These are two again very very energetic kind of personalities on LinkedIn. The way they show up, and how they talk and how they present themselves. If you look at Noshina Chen's videos, she's so energetic on these videos. Of course, it's also her skill set, like her core skill set of communication and all that. But then just the fact that the way she shows up on the camera, right, the kind of energy that she brings, so that is excitement. Again, Chris Do, if anybody of you has had a chance to look at Chris Do's profile, we'll also be looking at it very soon. So that kind of energy, that when you look at them, they're like full of energy. There is a lot of vigor, and there is a lot of enthusiasm that they bring on the table. So if you are somebody who can do that, then you should probably stick to the excitement persona. Competence, Matt Barker, Stephen Bartlett. Stephen Bartlett is a podcaster for Diary of a CEO. Great podcast. Matt Barker is again a copywriter. He just talks about his niche. Every time you look at his profile, he'll just be talking about copywriting. And rarely does he. Sorry?
हाँ तो सिंपल सुनता है ना वो भी अमेरिकन टाइप हाँ इसी में डाल
Mamta, could you
नहीं
please
फिर इसमें
mute yourself?
डालूंगा
Yeah, all right. So if you look at Matt Barker's profile, every time he talks about his niche, hardly does he talk about anything else. So he is totally into his business. He's totally into his niche. Stephen Bartlett, of course, because just if you have had a chance to look at, even the name of his podcast is Diary of a CEO. So CEO, a leader, leadership, competence kind of personality that he wants to build, that persona that he's trying to build for himself. That's competence. Sophistication, Richard Moore and Justin Welch. Richard Moore again talks about LinkedIn. Even Justin Welch talks about solopreneurship and everything, but he has built his business from LinkedIn, so that is also like a secondary topic for him. Richard Moore is somebody who teaches like LinkedIn sales and stuff like that. So if you look at their profiles, you'll be able to understand. Are these names familiar with most people? I've tried to pick like big profiles so that everybody has actually had a chance to see it. Yeah, cool. So Richard Moore, if you look at whatever he's done, even with his banner and his profile, it's sophisticated. It comes across as somebody who's achieved something, and and also his offer, like his offer is not for everybody. So this is how sophisticated personas show up. Ruggedness is something that you look into. Luke Matthews, he's a troll. He'll keep trolling people on his in his comment section and stuff like that. Tasleem Ahmad Fatah is another person. Just imagine somebody calling themselves Robin Hood. Isn't it the epitome of being a rebel, right? Jason Vana, again, very he'll talk. He calls himself. Yeah, so Lara Acosta is morely excitement. I feel that is what Lara Acosta is. Sagar is asking. So Jason Vana is like this. He calls himself Sassy Jason. So something, he will call out people, and he's not afraid to say somebody to somebody, ki you are doing this wrong. The way he calls out his ICP, I mean, just look at it is full of what is it called? It's full of little taunts, and in a funny way. He's not doing it to insult anybody, but then because he has built that personality for himself, or slightly funny and slightly rugged, people like it. So he roasts people basically, but people like it. Yeah, sense of humor, but then correct. So sense of humor, but then it's also on the because he's very competent, and he does it in a very subtle way. It works for him. So this should be a combination of how you are in real life plus how you want to be perceived. Yeah, he pulls it off very well. That's why I'm saying. So if you look at this persona thing, they are able to pull it off very well because this has been thought before optimizing the profile. That's what I'm saying. It's not just about profile optimization. Profile optimization should reflect what you want to do on LinkedIn and how you want to come across on LinkedIn. That's why this is step 0 and profile optimization is step 1. So this should be a combination of how you are in real life, because obviously it will show up. I don't think most of us can pretend for that long if you're trying to play the game in a long haul. And how you want to be perceived, because obviously it's a business platform and we all want to show up as our best versions, and we do it even in our daily life. How you behave with your parents, how you behave with your teachers, how you behave with your peers is different from how you behave with your friends or your siblings, right? So it's just very natural for us to be cautious of how we want to be perceived. And social media is another platform that we should be cautious of how we are being perceived. So why this profile mapping thing is important? It will build credibility and reliability. Yes, it's being recorded. So credibility and reliability. Why credibility and why reliability? If you show up as a certain person consistently, people know you. When they know you, only after that they'll like you and they'll trust you. So knowing is the first part, and then the like and trust will come later, right? So this is why this profile mapping process is very crucial. It seems simple, and also I just want to bring your attention that this can also be done via brand personalities, creator, those archetypes. If any of you had a chance to go through it, I had also recommended people going through Priyanka's session if anyone of you are in F101. So those things, but that is a little complicated process. This model that I showed to you, this is very simple. This is, I think, people can relate to it in an easier way than that. There's a question there. Somebody's asking to explain what to explain. Just let me check. Sukanya, what do you want me to explain? You can unmute yourself.
What you just mentioned, no?
Brand archetypes.
Huh?
That is a complete topic in itself. Like it's a complete,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, fine, no worries. Okay, it's okay.
What
You
we
can
can
tell us
do
in
is,
some other day, it's okay.
yeah. But basically, what it is, it's just brand personality. It is again brand personality, but it's a different model.
Okay.
This Acker model is different, and that model is slightly different. But that's a little more nuanced version, very detailed version, and it's used across industry. It is more popular basically. But then I just wanted it to be simplified. That's why I picked Acker model.
Okay, so no problem. Works here. Thank you.
Yeah. No worries. Okay. So you can actually just type, brand archetypes. I'll just put it in chat. If you just type it and look at it later, you will be able to easily find stuff. Okay. All right. So we've gone through the examples. Okay. So after we understood how we want to be perceived and how we want to show up and what makes sense for us, because now what steps we have already taken, we have understood ICP, we have understood how we can we can show up in front of our ICP so that we come across as credible. After that, after you have figured out these things, now is the time to optimize your profile. Now, a very important thing that you must have heard again and again is treat it as a landing page. Now, people just don't say it to say it, they mean it. Because if somebody's landing on your LinkedIn profile, and if you can convince them that you're good enough, then obviously they'll be interested in hiring you or connecting with you. Doesn't matter if they are your peers or your ICP or an influencer or just whoever you want to connect with. So above the fold means excuse me, above the fold is whatever is visible just right after somebody gets into your profile. Banner, profile picture, headline, and about section. About section has been recently been pushed upwards. Like it's also now above the fold. Earlier it wasn't. So this is a recent change with LinkedIn. Banner, you guys already understand what banner is, and headline also you guys understand, right? I'm assuming everyone knows it. What to do about it, we'll just go through this. Featured section, I realize not a lot of you are using. Featured section is don't do it. Featured section is very important, and I've done this mistake, so I know featured section is very important. Next comes your experience and media. Now, depending on what kind of profiles you guys have, if any of you is looking for a full-time job or anything like that, or has been in a full-time job, has been working through an agency, has been working with somebody credible, then you need to put this into your experience section. Very important. Okay. And try to match up the dates properly. And also what you've done in those jobs that can actually relate to what you're trying to apply for or what are you trying to achieve. So you need to tie things together when you're doing something. Services is another section. If you are a service provider, then you should use services section as well. We'll get into all of these details. Offer, results, and case studies. A lot of people, they make a LinkedIn profile, everything is well optimized, but they don't clearly state their services. Is it content writing? Is it SEO? Is it copywriting? Is it say content strategy? What is it exactly that you do? So you need to be very clear about that. If you have any results, those things you need to share. Case studies, again, just a little more sophisticated version of results, so those things you need to show. And one more very interesting thing that I realized when I looked into your guys profile is there is something called people also viewed. I will actually leave I will probably, I have a video basically, so I'll just leave that video there, or I'll show you the screenshots of how to turn this off. What happens is somebody's landing on your profile and they just, they're scrolling through your profile and they've scrolled till bottom, and then they'll have an option of people also viewed, which will list your competitors. So basically आप फ्री में अपने कॉम्पिटिटर्स को प्रमोट कर रहे हो. You are giving them options कि if you don't want to hire me, look, these are my competitors, right? So this is something that I realized with with some of your profiles. I didn't want to take those screenshots and put it here. So that's why I'll actually, yeah, that and it's mostly the case with people who are new on LinkedIn generally, but I think mostly people know about it. I even made a post. Actually, I have a post created up for that. I've recorded a video and everything, but then I didn't know if actually people are facing this problem. But when I looked into some of the profiles that we get into group, I realized that this is a problem. So I'll share that in the group itself. Of course, like I said, this is your first impression, so don't mess it up. And if you look into LinkedIn, your comments are teasers, the content is the trailer, and the profile is complete movie. Because if you comment well, people are going to look into your content. How to off this not getting the option? That's in settings actually. I'll screenshot or the video, whatever is feasible for me tomorrow itself. So don't worry about that. Okay, so what you need to do, what you need to understand is that that's why I first started the session with profile mapping. Once you understand how you want to show up, that is exactly how you show up on your comments, in your content, and on your profile. Everything needs to tie in together. You don't go and watch a movie. You look into trailer. You look into the review, which is the testimonial. You look into the teasers. You look who are the actors and everything. Even if you want to if you want to watch a 200 rupees movie for 3 hours of your time, you're going to think about it. Yeah, thank you. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm guessing it's Sean Pinto. Cool, thank you. That's exactly what it is. Okay, I didn't remember the exact path. Excuse me for my throat today. So that is how you have to think about it. So give them a nice teaser so they actually see your post and come to your profile. So also what happens is sometimes people get to know you through your content. So that's why again it's a trailer. And then final conversion happens on the profile. If you have shared your offer, if you optimize it well, if you have given them a chance to book a call or something, then there's a chance that you could be able to convert them. Okay. So the examples that I've picked up, I've just picked 2 examples because obviously there are hundreds of profiles that are optimized very well, but we can't look into everything. So this is Ben Meer. So what has happened with Ben Meer is he's trying to follow all best practices here. Very clean design, very straightforward offer. He has huge following. He will only talk about his niche, that's productivity and personal development and everything. That is what he'll talk about. He'll not diverge from this, never, ever, right? So he follows all the best practices that we're going to talk about. I want, once you have this PPT, I want you to go through his about section also, because a lot of people don't know how to write about section, which is again a little problematic. This is his featured section. One-on-one coaching course. So these are his 2 offerings. It's very clear. It's clear as daylight that he has 2 offers. And that you can make it clear through your featured section. So guys, please utilize featured section well. Now this is Chris Do. Now, if you look at him, he's a combination of excitement plus a bit of ruggedness, a little rebellious attitude to him. Just look at his banner. I mean, nobody can tell you that this is, of course, it works for him, but then it could be cleaner. If any of you are designer here, you can agree with me probably that this banner is a little crowded. So, but it works for him very well because he's making it work. I I have not picked up any particular niche for this, and I have specifically not picked up LinkedIn influencers as such, like people who only talk about LinkedIn, so that you guys can have a fair idea. While video editor examples, probably I'll drop in the group. Um, Let me just note these two things that what you guys need. First is you need probably branding archetype link. I'll leave that. And video editor profile. And there was another question. I'm just forgetting. Yeah. So Sean has given the people also view thing, but I'll just drop that also. But just give me a little time. So beautiful banner, but then from design sense of view, probably it could have been a little more cleaner. So he's not doing best practices. As you, if you look at him, the way he presents himself or the way he talks, it's very different and it's unique. It's unique. Whatever he does is very unique to him. If you look at his content and everything, he's doing very well for himself. Of course, it's matlab, I'm nobody to validate him, but he's made those out of box thing work for him because he's picked that kind of profile or that kind of persona for him, and then he never diverges from that. That is very important. Once you pick something, matlab, if you understand what you want to do, then try to stick to it for a long period of time to understand if it's working for you. Okay, one day you can't be sincere, and second day you can't be excited for the sake of it. Okay, so there needs to be certain balance in what you're trying to do. Featured section, again, like as you can see that these is like different colors here and everything. So of course, because it's also a very artistic profile, so you need to understand, that's the entire point of this example, that you need to understand what you want to do and then pick colors, then pick fonts. We're going into these things, of course, but first important thing is to understand how you want to show up. That is the first thing that you need to understand. Yeah, so this is the services section. A lot of people don't do services section properly, but I found this services section very nicely done. And recommendations, there are 65 recommendations for this man, so definitely speaks of his credibility like anything. If you guys can manage LinkedIn recommendations, please do it, because what happens is, as soon as somebody sees recommendation on LinkedIn, they can just go back and check the profile of the person who has recommended you, and they can understand, okay, this person has this is a good profile. So if you have worked with a previous client who has a certain level, it will give you more leverage. So try to get some good LinkedIn recommendations and try to ask your clients to give you LinkedIn recommendations. Can't stress it enough. Okay, so we're almost 1 hour into it, and I just wanted to know that if you guys are getting my points, if you guys understanding, if we are on the same page, if you are disagreeing, even if you are disagreeing, just let me know in the chat. It's absolutely okay. I would love to hear your opinions. Okay. All right, so I'm just assuming right now that you guys are getting. Thank you, Priyanka. Okay, all good. All right, perfect. So what I said in earlier also, the first problem was of the ICP. The second problem that I noticed while talking to you guys was that you had a lot of issues understanding content strategy, how to go about it. So these are the basic questions that you need to ask yourself, and then you'll be able to figure out what to talk about. So what are the things that you thought that if I had known this earlier, it would have helped me? What are the doubts and challenges do your ideal clients have? So that again goes back to basic. That's why I covered it in basic ICP research. Once you know what your ideal clients struggle with, that is a very important part of your content strategy. What information will help my peers improve? If you've learned something new, so if you talk about it and it helps your peers. Okay, Sajida. Okay, I'll talk about it. This is a very specific query, so we'll try to take it towards the end. Okay, so in such cases, if you think travel influencers, I think is one travel tech brands. I'm not very sure what products travel tech brands produce. So if you can give me that idea, we can talk about it a little later. Travel, so agencies can hire through LinkedIn also. It is possible for you to get attached with an agency and work as a copywriter. I've done that and that works very well. If they are paying you well, that's also a very important question. So I also currently work with agency also. One of my clients is an agency client. Okay, so talking about what you're learning, what you're building, something that your peers will help, your peers will appreciate. So those are the things. And then, how can I project my future goals into content? What does that mean? Suppose today you're working as a content writer. Tomorrow you want to be a content strategist. Today you only offer, say, video editing via CapCut, but you also want to offer it through Adobe. Or today you are doing something on a basic level, but you want to move into the pro level, of course. Or if you want to launch something of your own, probably an agency, probably some kind of consultation services, probably a new kind of service, or an additional services. For example, if you're doing Instagram and now you also want to add LinkedIn to it. So so even your content strategy should reflect what you want to do in near future. So this is how you will be able to get the most leverage. The next part is universally resonant topics. There are certain things that certain experiences that everybody has. For example, 9 to 5 experiences. A lot of people are in jobs on LinkedIn. The experience you have when you leave your home, the experience you have with your pets, the experience you have with your siblings, your parents, and your partners, or these things, themes that run around love, relationship, family, health, success. Everybody wants it. So these are the universally resonant topics that you can talk about as part of your content strategy. Now, the bonus question that I want you to think very seriously about is, what are the unique things about you that most people can connect to? You might see, maybe you're a video editor, but then you're passionate about something else. Maybe, you're very passionate about traveling. Maybe you're passionate about some form of art, or you're passionate about languages or books. So these are the things that even other people might be passionate about, right? So talk about those things, and this way you will have a higher chance of connecting with people, and this will also help you set yourself apart when you have something beyond your niche to talk about. Of course, there needs to be a balance about, otherwise people will get confused what you offer and what you do. But definitely including certain things beyond your niche will help you connect to people more on a more personal and human level. Okay, so after you answer those questions, you will have a fair idea of how your content strategy can work. Like I said earlier, you need to capture ideas and observe around you. Now, what does that mean? For example, the other day I was talking to my friend. She is in IT. So she was telling me कि while listening songs, I can code, but then I can't write an email. So how does that resonate with me? I am a writer. I can write when I'm listening to music, but she can't do it because it's not her expertise. And also, different parts of brain work when you are actually doing something technical, when you're doing something creative. That's a different part of the story. But just the fact that she shared it with me, and I understood that different people. So it can have different themes. Different people function differently. How creative work compares to technical work, or how you should actually hire an expert, because I can write because that's what I do, because I'm a writer, and she can code because she is a coder. So different people bring different skills on the table. So this is how, when you look at something, this is how you need to think. So if you can capture ideas and observe people around you, observe things happening around you, you will probably be able to uh, make it easy for yourself for content creation, at least, if not just for your skill, because I'm assuming a lot of people are of you are in video editing and graphic designing. Even in, of course, like, it will serve you no matter what your niche. Second part is content pillars. Now, how to pick content pillars, that also I have listed down here in how. Content formats everybody of you is aware of. They're just common formats: text, carousel, infographics. Sorry, infographics spelled wrongly. And then you can repurpose these things in blogs, in shorts, in Twitter threads. Sean Pinto raised his hand. You want to ask some question? Oh, that's what by mistake. No worries. How to create carousels on LinkedIn? Please use Canva. Okay, so I've given you this example of health coach. I've picked this example because I think most of us can relate to health coaches and we understand how health works. So, what can they talk about? Hormone health, exercise, weight loss, prevention of disease, and curing disease. To make it more clear, I have actually created this little content calendar for you guys. Is it visible? Yeah. Okay. Can you read the text here? Oh yes, I thought so. Give me a moment. Let me just figure it out. Yeah, is it visible now? Okay. Cool. So what I've done is I have picked these content pillars and I've created example post for a health coach. Okay. Now, talking about different things, it could be diet, hormone health. So you can just connect it with the color hormone health. What young girls can do about PCOS. PCOS is something that is a hormone based problem. Why cortisol is your biggest enemy? It's a stress hormone. So how does it negatively impact you? How yoga benefits hormone health. So this way I have actually created certain mock post, not of course not the complete post, but the post topics that can be covered into for a health coach, right? So you guys can actually have a look at it. For weight loss, you might talk about metabolism reset. For exercises, you can talk about 3 moves for lower back pain. For diet, you can talk about including healthy fat in your daily routine, a step-by-step recipe for homemade protein powder. Disease cure, I've given how to cure anemia. So these are some of the examples. So this is how you can think about your own content strategy. You can look into content pillars, then you can pick up the topics, like the post, what you want to talk about, and then you can decide what kind of format you want to pick with it. I hope I'm making sense. So this is how you go about thinking about content strategy.
Hi guys, so I ordered this mouse from Logitech
All
and
right.
this is the box. I mean, just look at the...
Do you guys want to ask something at this point?
Cool. So I'll just use it.
Yeah, Sukanya, please go ahead.
Hey, sorry, but this might be a very basic question. But
No,
I
it's
would
okay.
ask. See, like you have mentioned, like say here the category is say health, right? Hormone health and all those things. Now, suppose me being a say, for example, I want to write for coaches and all, health coaches and all. Okay, it could be she or he could be a doctor, it could be a personal coach, nutritionist, or someone or the other. Now, suppose even though I am a copywriter, say, but I choose that as my ICP. So, is it like I can write content on these subject matters also to highlight my to target my ICP? or like it should be like based on just copywriting things, like I write posts like regarding copywriting things, what a copywriter
Understood.
does. Sometimes I write about free flowing ideas because I have not been able to choose the exact ICP for me. Now say suppose if I choose health or fitness or wellness in that way, so should I start posting such on such topics to target? Yeah.
Yes, yes, definitely. So how you will talk about it matters a lot. Now you can't give tips on your own because you are not a health coach. So what you can do is you can talk about you can actually talk about industry trends or something like that. For example, if there is some kind of for example, there is this chemical now which people use for fairness, glutathione or something like that. Yeah, I'll share the sheet. Something like that, right? So you can talk about how harmful it is, or you can talk about like the other day I was reading that teenage kids are getting into gyms. They are getting into building their body and how harmful it is for their overall health.
Yeah.
So you need to talk about general trends. You
Okay.
can't give tips on your own,
Hmm.
right? So I understood your problem, which is obvious and which is not recommended. You can't talk like this. uh,
Right. Because
yeah,
I'm not a qualified doctor or a
exactly,
coach. So
exactly.
how do I find these trending topics in regarding to health niche and all fitness? Just go to Google Trends simply.
So maybe you can that is one way of going about it, but then you can also you know look into the influencers, like the top profiles, what they are doing. That will give you a fair idea.
Hmm.
Yeah, Quora and Answer the Public is definitely one. Answer the Public basically doesn't cover anything trending, but definitely the basic stuff. It gives great questions, and they also work very well for SEO purposes. So yeah, definitely Quora is definitely one very important source. A little underrated, but yeah, because people they are actually being very say straightforward on Quora, because nobody knows anybody. So whatever is there, it's a little raw, so it's very useful
Yes,
resource.
genuine information and genuine reviews will come.
Yeah, yeah, definitely read it. Okay, okay. So Abhishek is keen on helping you out. Great.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Give me a moment. All right. So moving on to the next part of it. So this after you've figured out your content strategy, now you need to understand what are the content types that you can go for. Storytelling is very common. You must have seen it around, like people do it a lot these days. A lot of people, even LinkedIn influencers, or they pick stories from their personal life and experiences, travel stories, or anything that resonates with a lot of people. Next part is educational kind of content type, very common, and it works also. So that's why it's also very popular. How to do so and so step by step, tips on editing your video like a pro, tools to uh, make your presentations more polished, or tools you need to know for content marketing, do's and don'ts of something. That could be LinkedIn, that could be do's and don'ts of your health, could be do's and don'ts of building a business. So these are like very, you must have, it's not possible that if you're using LinkedIn and you've not come across an educational post. Controversial is controversial, so it serves its purpose, creating controversy and gaining attention. That's the main purpose of controversial. Lead generation is something that you share to attract leads. So case studies, BTS, anything behind the scenes, your process, basically how you go about something, how you do it, what are the resources that you consume. So those are the things that BTS for me is anything that shows your processes to your ICP. Okay, this is how I work. Uh, you know, so that is like lead generating kind of post. Client stories, you talk about your experience with clients, the conversation you had, if you learned something from them, if they trusted you with something. So these are the client stories that you can talk about, and it goes a long way in showing that you are a competent professional. The other day somebody made a post of how uh, basically everybody keeps telling that you need work life balance, but then as a freelancer, he's ready to hustle because he wants to give the best to his client. He did 2 back-to-back meetings in the night and stuff like that. So just trying to show that he's very sincere and very competent and he takes his work seriously. Doesn't matter, he doesn't sleep. So these are the things that you need to talk about strategically in your content. Commentary is niche and industry news, just the kind of example that we were talking about, like how teenage kids, it's a trend now, and how teenage kids should not get into uh, gymming or bodybuilding or these kind of things or take steroids for it. And any kind of industry news, for example, if you're serving SaaS founders or IT business people, you need to understand what are the publications where you can find relevant industry news that you can talk about, so that they know that you understand their industry. That is very important. You have to convince your ICP that you know their industry, because that will give you an upper hand. See, it's not that people can't write or people can't edit graphics or create videos or just about anything. But if you've done something for a certain industry, obviously it gives you an edge. Sweetie, you were trying to ask a question.
Yeah. Just relating to this part, this slide, like storytelling is used by like most of the creators in every sort of platform, right?
Hmm.
So, like few months ago, like Sahili was recently talking about this on in some of our session like that only. That like people copy the similar kind of content, like the branding slide that we did, branding archetypes. So there was something called middle class, then from sincerity, then you are how sincere you are, how hardworking you are. So like the narrative of middle class girl or boy, then doing freelancing, then they reach a particular financial status and get financial freedom. This kind of story rotates almost every nook and corner in LinkedIn, right? You agree with it?
Not really.
Okay.
See, because there are like millions of people on LinkedIn.
Yeah, sure.
So what happens is, and it happens actually, what you're saying, I completely understand. So this is
Yeah.
like, appealing to aspiration of other people. Everybody has certain aspirations. Everybody has certain goals. So if I am reading it and if I want to get into freelancing, I'll be like, yeah, of course, if somebody has done it, I can do it too, right? So that's why these kind of things work. Doesn't matter, it's been repeated. I agree with you. So
Okay.
a lot of things get repeated because they work. It's
Okay.
just that you need to insert your unique insight or experience into it, so that
Mhm.
people, when they read it, they think of you at that given moment and not about some XYZ that posted few days back.
Okay. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, and also you
Thanks.
need to. I'll just. I don't have the example right now,
Mm-hmm.
but for example, this guy Chris Doe,
Mm-hmm.
he talked about his
Okay.
agency. Everybody talks about agency, right? If you
Yeah.
have an agency, there are countless people who have their agencies, and they're bound to talk about them. But the way this guy talked about it is completely different. You won't even compare that post to anybody. So that
Okay.
is how you need to figure out, that what your writing voice is. That takes
Okay.
practice, of course, like he is a legend. So that needs a certain amount of practice and it doesn't come overnight. It will need time.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Thanks. Yeah.
no worries. Okay, great. So content formats, I don't need to read it out to you. You guys already are aware of it. But then I just included it because the other day I was reading through WhatsApp messages and somebody was saying that they are completely new to LinkedIn and everything. So I just added it here so that nobody feels left out or confused. Okay. I think we've covered all the copy and copy part here. Now coming on to the what you need to do while writing, learning basic copywriting principles. I don't want you to believe that unless you have a extensive experience on copywriting, you can't start writing on LinkedIn. Let's not do that, because not all of you are copywriters and not all of you are pitching writing services. So it's acceptable that if your writing doesn't match up to a certain level, of course people are not looking at your writing skills at that point in time. So learn the basic principles. Just follow this simple structure of hook, meet, and CTA. So everything needs to time together. What you're trying, what you hook is like the promise that you've given your reader. So when you talk about it in the post, try to fulfill the promise, and CTA is what action you want the readers to take, right? So justify the hook and then ask them, because now you have fulfilled the promise. Now you can ask them to do certain thing for you, certain action for you, right? Because this is how it works, reciprocity. If you do something for me, I will have a higher chance of repaying it back to you. It could be a like, it could be a suggestion, it could be offering you some like introducing you to somebody or anything like that, right? This is how we function. So this is what we were discussing with Sweetie's question, that you have to find your voice or writing style, which doesn't happen overnight. It will happen with a little time, and if you keep at it, definitely you're going to develop a certain style, and then you'll also find that all your posts will sound the same, which is a very good sign that you have found your voice. I think a few people in our LinkedIn group also, they've been writing very consistently on LinkedIn, so there is a certain style that they stick to. So yeah, that will happen with you also if you just stick with it, despite you not being a writer. And of course, if you are at a certain level, then you obviously you can hire somebody to do it for you. That is also completely acceptable and works well for most people. So also what people do to stand out is they pick up certain phrases or emojis. Unfortunately, I think emojis are a little overdone now. Like if you're just starting out, don't stick to emoji for standing out. Try to include other elements also. If you have been doing it for a very long time, I think the person here, Mansa Sujana, I think you have a watermelon in as an emoji. Am I right? Yeah. So I remember that I saw that, and it was a little unusual. So I remember that, and I did see this profile quite some time ago. So yeah, it was working very well. But if it's a new profile for you, so that's not probably very recommended for you. Try to make it a little more sophisticated than just an emoji. Certain phrases, for example, there is somebody called Ding Dong Guy on LinkedIn. I don't remember his name, but I know his favorite phrase is ding dong. Like for example, Jason wanna calls himself sassy Jason. So these are the things that stick to our mind, right? If there is something unusual about it, it's going to stick to our brains. This is how we function. So why? Because it makes you memorable. This is why this thing is important, and it also reflects your personality. If you can, if some people use some kind of like Tasleem Ahmed would use a lot of those zombie kind of emojis, or that skull emoji. So slowly people will actually start relating to you with those things, and you will become more memorable. So that's the logic behind it. And these copywriting principles, I think most of you will know: problem, agitate, solve, attention, interest, desire, and I'm forgetting the word now. What is it? I think we have some copywriters here. And before, after, bridge is one another common copywriting formula that you guys can use. Now about visual identity. Visual identity is something that you need to also pick a little carefully, depending on what kind of image that you want to. Certain colors will give certain kind of an image. For example, if you pick up red, it is passionate energy. If you pick up green, it is more on the side of calmness and clean kind of a feeling. That's why sustainable brands always pick up greens. So these are the things that you need to remember. For fonts, I won't be able to give you a lot of suggestions, but there is a little profile that you can check out. He talks about fonts also. I didn't remember it while preparing this PPT, but there is a post link from him where he talks about fonts. For example, railway is a font
Give me your LinkedIn.
that shows off sophistication. This is the font name. I can't see on my own chat. Can you guys see my chat? Yeah. Yeah. So certain fonts give out certain energy. So that you need to understand. And see, fonts is something you can actually talk to your designer friends, people who are within our groups. They will be able to guide you, because typography is one thing that designers look into. and I have no expertise in design. But to give you an example, certain fonts give you certain vibe. So Railway is very sophisticated. So if you have picked up sophistication, then Railway is your font. Okay. So understanding font combinations, there are also certain sites that give you font combinations. You can look into it. So after you picked up your color and font, make sure that whatever visuals you create, whether it is for feature section, whether it is for your banner or around your profile, you need to stick to the same color. Like after I've picked up this color here, this peach color here, that you can see, I have picked it up across my profile picture, across this presentation also, across my portfolio also I've redesigned based on these color. And this is the same kind of narrative that I am trying to build. Now of course it will change within a few months because of certain reasons, but the point being, ye stick to one narrative, stick to one persona, and you'll be good to go. So for visual representations, if you have had a chance to look at Sahil Bloom's profile, you will see what kind of visual representations he does. That illustration things that is getting very popular on LinkedIn. Infographic is of course again another very commonly used visual. Mind maps is something that you can look into. I'm sure everybody understands mind maps. AI based images. We have seen an upsurge in AI based images as well, and videos. So this is again that helps to build reliability and shows your personality and makes you memorable if you do it well. So a lot of these words are repeating because your member being memorable just doesn't come from one thing, or being reliable just doesn't come from one thing. So this is the example of the visual illustration that I was talking about. This is from Dan Co. So if you just look into the visual, that you find something that you can't pull yourself away from, and there is this whirlwind kind of thing where this guy is being pulled. So these are the illustrations that work very well these days on LinkedIn. So if a designer is listening to this, you can really use it to your advantage. That's a great kind of a content format that you guys can stick to. Now this is an AI image. It's from one of my connections. She uses this AI based images of herself, and like they're really cool. So can be another way of gaining a little attention, if you call it. And now this is an infographic. Yeah, Denko is the reason I started writing. Yeah, yeah. Denko is something else only. Sure. Agreed. Okay, so we have addressed a few questions, but then if you guys want to ask more questions, if there's something that has not been understood that you would want to discuss, that you would want to clarify about what we have discussed so far, so I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Parna, just guys, before you guys start asking questions, I want to clarify a few things from her. Parna, will you be sharing the slides with us?
Sure.
Okay, cool enough. So from this point onwards, it will be Q&A.
Oh no. We are just
Okay, you have few things left out.
Yeah, there are around 10 slides actually. And I think they will not be very, because these are the two things that I wanted to discuss in very much detail about content and profile optimization. The rest part is not like something not very, it's not difficult, and it won't take a lot of time.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I was just worried about the
And
clock.
just,
That's all. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I can see the time. It's 9:20 already. And let me just plug in my laptop. Please
Yeah,
give me.
sure. তুই সারাদিনের মধ্যে কয়টা চ্যাপ্টার করলি রে? কালকে 3টা পুরো হইব সারাদিনে? পুরো কমপ্লিট হইছে ওইটা? স্পিড এন্ড টাইম পুরো শেষ? দুইটা? টাইম কবে করবি? ফর্মুলা মুখস্থ আছে? কালকে সকালবেলা ঘুমের থেকে ওটা সবগুলো ইয়ের ফর্মুলা লিখে
All right.
একটা
So,
পেজের
do we have
মধ্যে।
any questions?
হ্যাঁ।
Okay, so we can move forward then. Cool.
No. Parna, I have few basic questions, okay, if no one has any.
Mhm.
So like what I understood, like while working with my client, like copywriting is something I found that in social media marketing it is very a basic skill and very strong skill that you need, because
Mm-hmm.
like I have seen there is one or another form of copywriting only. If,
Correct.
like for example, for script writing also you need to pursue your audience. For newsletter also you are doing persuasion, and for content LinkedIn, that is also a bit of persuasion. Like every bit of content we are pushing out, there is some sort of persuasion, that is
Absolutely.
copywriting. So like as a beginner, what we can do at least to polish, because we are not very at par with the copywriting skill that is required to bring at least the basic results. Okay, what would you give advice for a beginner who is just starting with LinkedIn as well with copywriting? Consider me, because I'm very new to all this.
Okay, okay. So, from a very beginner perspective, the first book that you can read is Cash Advertising.
Okay.
Second, follow a few profiles on LinkedIn: Matt Barker, Nathan Baugh. I'll just type it out. So, if anybody,
Yeah, 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 sure, sure.
give me a moment. This is the book which is recommended for beginners, and of course, like even senior writers swear by it. This guy is into storytelling very nicely, right? Matt Barker is another person that you can follow for writing tips. Um, if I remember, Anne Handley is the person. If any of the writers are here, let me just check on my LinkedIn actually. There's a matlab, after I got into LinkedIn, I am not much into like, yeah, Anne Handley is another profile that you can follow for writing tips. And there was this very sassy kind of person. I don't remember her.
Okay, Parna, thanks a lot. So, as a beginner, like how, like if I, for example, if I have a LinkedIn client whom I will be writing, for example, I'll give you a mock file. Okay, for example, she's a IIM graduate who has a 10 years of corporate experience, and she wants to build her personality in LinkedIn. Not in terms, she doesn't want to sell initially, just she wants to build a personal brand. So, what kind of things I should write, and what kind of ROI promises I should say, like promise her as a beginner?
Cool. So because they are not selling anything, so lead generation doesn't come into picture.
Yeah.
So what you will look into is other analytics that will talk about. Matlab, it's nothing complicated. You also know it.
Mm-hmm.
Impressions,
Mm-hmm.
reach,
Mm-hmm.
reactions, comments, repost.
Yeah.
Right. So just increasing a follower base, one thing. Second, if relevant people are forming connections with her, following her, talking to her in DMs, right? So
Okay.
now because she is into community building, it's hard to quantify these things. It's hard to quantify your reputation unless you're
Okay.
selling. Once you, if you have a certain reputation, you can sell a $300 product. If you have a certain reputation, you can sell something for 3,000
Okay.
or something for 30,000. Depends, right?
Okay. Okay.
So unless and until you sell something, it's very hard to quantify what is your reputation. So only way to quantify it is probably follower count.
Okay. So, what if I bring the lead generation part into the scene? For example, she wants to sell some 2000 coaching course, like one-on-one consultation course. So, how do I change the game now for her?
So then you need to talk about the results that she's brought. You need to talk about how her corporate experience will be an edge. How she
Okay.
can, how her corporate experience will help her ICP.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to talk that she is the best option for her ICP. So content revolving around that,
Okay.
results and stuff like that. BTS,
Mm-hmm.
testimonials from her clients.
Okay. So, like, how do I differentiate with the top tier consultant people from and like stage her the top one at least at the starting? Because it takes time to differentiate between a lot of people, right? Making your
So this
personal
is
thing
where
useful.
this is
Yeah.
where your profile optimization will help.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the way you write and the way the content that you talk about helps.
Okay.
If if I am a pro marketer, what I'll talk about is very different than I'm a beginner marketer,
Okay.
right? So, for example, the post that I created few days back on Maslow's hierarchy, most people know about it. It
Yeah.
isn't something new, right?
Yeah.
But there is a certain more advanced version to it. I had a screenshot, but then I couldn't find it in time. So the
Okay.
point, the point is, if I talked about that, then people would have assumed that I'm a pro marketer. That is a different question. If I am or not. That's secondary.
Okay.
See, the
Positioning
problem,
comes to play.
yeah. So the problem is that unless you have the attention of someone, you just cannot convince them that you're good enough. The first challenge is to have that attention on yourself, right?
Okay.
Unless you lure people into the theater, they will not know how your movie is. Correct.
Okay. Pretty much. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why we're here, so that people at least give you a chance. You have a fair chance to talk to your ICP, to show up and to convert them.
Okay. Makes
Okay.
sense. It's
Yeah.
it's really clear to me right now. Thanks, Parna. Yeah.
No, no worries, no worries. Priyanka has asked a question. I'm active on LinkedIn but not on other platforms. So if I want to find out my ICP on Instagram, then do I need to create an account or install or not mandatory? So Priyanka, what you're trying to say is that you want to find out your ICP on Instagram. If your ICP is on Instagram, then why you don't want to create a profile on Instagram? I didn't quite understand your question. She said that everybody is actually sleeping. You can probably drop the message into group and we can talk about it. What if the client is complete beginner and doesn't have any results? Yeah, so that will be a little difficult. Uh, so I understand that clients can be beginner, which is completely okay. So then you need to tell them that it will take time unless they have results. So no marketing can help somebody who's not done anything. And it goes with our profile also. See, unless we have certain kind of skills, we are not going to get paid. Doesn't matter how optimized your profile is. I can give you this now. This is very strange and this is very contradictory. But after getting into LinkedIn, I've talked to people who have 7,000 followers and zero clients. I have 700 followers, but touchwood, I have clients. So nothing can replace your skills. This session does not mean that you don't need skills, but what you need other than skills is a uh, good kind of portfolio or a certain presence on any social media platform. Yeah,
I'll
money is
just add one thing. Sorry, guys, if it is a bit out of the topic, but when I have read her featured section, I was like, भाई इतना overachieving लग रहा है मेरे से बहुत FOMO हो रहा है. When I read your profile and I was like, oh my god, it is so good actually. So like I was feeling ki okay, so have I not done anything? Like it was really overwhelming where you explained about all the client results. So like whosoever gets into your profile and reads the feature section, like they are 90% sold already, just that they need to book the call and talk about it. Is very much organized and very optimized, like they know that you know your thing very good. So that's the main point of everything, I guess.
I didn't completely understand. Are you talking about who are you
Your
talking about?
personal profile actually.
My profile. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so thank you so much. So I learned all these things after I started paying attention to it. But
Okay.
like I said in the beginning only, Saheli's cohort definitely helped me. Yeah. So credit where it's due. No doubt about it. Okay. How you'll create value? Please show your LinkedIn. Okay. So in case I was assuming that everybody who is attending the session is probably has already visited my LinkedIn, but that's absolutely okay. Can you just type in like, can you see it on your, because I'll have to just move, it's on a different Chrome profile. Yeah, thank you, Sean. Sukanya, please go ahead with your question.
Okay, Ponna, the question is what Priyanka was asking, and I think if I'm not wrong, even I have this question. Now, say for me, I am focusing on LinkedIn. Okay, Instagram, I have a personal account. Okay, now suppose on Instagram I want to search for my ICP. Is it necessary? Like I have to recreate another account? And if so, can we do that? Let's say only for, say, for me as a copywriter, I want to showcase everything, but I don't want my personal account to get into it. So is it possible?
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. What you can do is you can create another Instagram account, and from that account, block yourself, block your personal account.
Okay.
So that ways, no, none of your relatives, none of your personal contacts will be able to see that account. Or you
Okay.
can
And,
even use Outlook email. That will also help you. You don't use Gmail. Use Outlook
and
email and create Instagram profile out of it. Optimize it, and then just use. If you even so, what you are doing is what you're doing on LinkedIn. You can repurpose across Instagram.
exactly. And suppose the same email ID can't be used, right? Say for Gmail, is it better to have another Gmail account
So if you
and
don't want to muddle two things, like you don't
uh,
want to mix, then use another Gmail account and
but
block
it's
yourself.
fine. Like say for in LinkedIn, I have another account, and for IG, I have another account. Suppose for my ICP, like they start looking for me on say IG also, but then they see that the contact information is little different. Won't that be confusing?
So what you can, acha, so your problem is with the same email ID, you have LinkedIn and
Yeah,
personal Instagram account.
right.
So so what you can do is you can use something called milkshake or something where you can actually list different links on your Instagram bio. Am I right? That's one way to do.
You can use Linktree actually for
Linktree,
Instagram.
yeah, Linktree is also a very good option. Absolutely, I
Yeah, yeah,
didn't know the same. Linktree
yeah,
is a good option. So you can use that also on your Instagram if you want. Or what you can do is, if you want to avoid this confusion altogether, what you can do is within that personal Instagram account, use a Linktree to your professional Instagram account.
Okay.
So
yeah. Most
what
of
I
the
suggest
creators
is
do that.
don't
Yeah,
make your ICP go from here and there.
Hmm.
Not all of them are, that, like, let's just understand that they might not have the motivation to do it for us.
Hmm.
So try to make it as straightforward as possible, and just block yourself. No, try that, because this hack
Okay.
was told to me by an Instagram manager. So I
Okay.
believe this will work.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Fine. Thank you. Thank you so much.
no worries, no worries. Okay. Now, a very important part that comes into play is engagement. So I don't want to overwhelm you and give you like ki 20 profiles pe comment karna hai and all that, but you can pick your comfort level. So if you are hesitant about posting, commenting is a great way to get into the habit of writing and showing up. Because regardless, even in comments, not your post will be probably visible to few hundred people, but your comments will be visible to thousands of people. So this fear of yours will go away if you just engage. So pick three peers or competitors. Professionals will, well, most of us are into creative fields. So website developers, graphic designers, copywriters, and video editors, and all these things, people who do influencer marketing, people who do ads, these are all adjacent industry professionals. So find those things, find those people, and start engaging on their account. Three people ahead of you, it could be in terms of anything, their results, their follower count also matters. If you think that that matters to you, uh, probably they have been into certain your industry. For example, if you are writing for health coaches and they have been in the health industry for 3 years, 7 years, so they are like somebody ahead of you, so follow them, interact with them. Five, thought leaders and influencer. Now, why thought leaders and influencers? See, it doesn't matter if they don't talk to you, if they don't reply to your comment or anything. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to get the right eyeballs on you. Okay. When I wasn't posting, I was writing good comments, and I would get connection requests, at least, if not leads. So good writing good comments will give you a lot of visibility. And sometimes, the other day I commented on some influencer profile, and like, he is not LinkedIn influencer, but then he is doing some good work in tech space. So just because I dropped a comment on his post, he sent a connection request to me and specifically said that he's grateful that I engaged with his content. So try to understand the power of comments and don't underestimate it. If somebody like Jasmine Alec is saying that commenting is powerful, then mere mortals like us need to take it seriously. Okay. So 5 ICP profiles. This you will need to do, because then you will be in front, you will be on their mind, and you will be in front of their eyes. Suppose for example, if I like I had told this story within my group, like the 10 people that are assigned to me. What happened was, I was connected to a person, and they actually pitched somebody. Pitch matlab, you know, those hiring post, we are hiring so and so, type interested, that kind of post it was. And I saw that she typed interested, and I know that she's a writer. So I went back, I checked the gig, and I got the gig, she didn't get the gig. That's not the point. The point is, because somebody had done the work, she commented on an ICP profile, because I was connected with her, because I was engaging with her content. LinkedIn algorithm showed that comment to me, and I was able to crack that gig, which is the highest paying gig that I could have ever gotten on my own with a shitty LinkedIn profile. So don't underestimate comments, don't underestimate connecting with relevant people, even if it's your peers. Please do it, and find people who are interested in building relationships. You will find such people on LinkedIn for sure, because if somebody is doing well on LinkedIn, they do understand that they needs other people's support. There is no way. See, there are only two reasons somebody will engage. Either the content is too good, which matlab we are not at that level, we are not Chrisdo. So, and the second why they will engage is if they care about you, if they know you personally. So everybody understands this on LinkedIn, it is transactional in nature. So build your relationships, don't shy away from talking to people. I am a complete introvert, but then I started doing it for my LinkedIn, because I want to build a certain kind of business for myself on LinkedIn. So I believe if I can do it, I'm sure you guys can do it as well. So don't overwhelm yourself with certain ki आज हमने 50 कमेंट्स किए और कल हमने कुछ नहीं किया. Don't do it that ways. Pick certain kind of momentum for yourself, whatever works best for you. Some people do it while being in the toilet, some people do it while having their breakfast. Whatever works for you, commute, whatever, you can use it on mobile for sure. So whatever works for you, if you're taking some break. And also there's one thing, I don't know how I missed it. What you can do is you can create a proper list for yourself, and that list will contain the kind of profiles that you want to engage with, like what we are trying to do with that LinkedIn group also. So you can create such list for yourself, and then whenever you're free, just go to that list, engage with those particular people. This way you will save time also, and this can be a little strategic way to do it, so that you don't waste your time. Of course, then you will not discover new people. But if you are short on time, at least you know, acha, these 5 people I want to comment on no matter what, or these 10 people I want to comment on most of the post, if not all post, right? So this is how you can go about doing engagement for yourself. Okay, so these are the few examples. Now, just because what happened was, earlier I had not picked up these examples. I thought like probably it would get too long and too obvious. But then I realized that if I just keep talking to you, you have seen this, you have seen that, it won't make sense. So these are some of the comments. Just yesterday, I happened to comment something on Vedika Bhaiya, Unnati Baga's post, and she replied, and there were a few likes. Secondly, for example, this guy here, he's in my connections. So he's into commenting only. He doesn't post, but he has leads. He has his business set. Matlab, he has his client base. Of course, he has a certain level of experience as a social media marketer, but he is using comments. That is his specialty only.
31.66.
He brings in leads for himself. So now what he has done is he has put this comment on somebody else's post, and now he's driving conversation on somebody else's post. But somebody else has done the hard work of creating a post, and this guy is taking all the limelight by commenting. Now he is not doing it. So he is not doing it by bringing down the other person, right? He is just trying to help the other person. and now he is also driving engagement on his own comment. So this, what, yeah, adding value, right, adding value, and also help. Like what he's saying is, I will put a CTA for you. You forgot the CTA, buddy. I am putting the CTA. What could be the potential CTA? And now the author also will feel happy कि engagement बढ़ रहा है मेरी post पे, right? So if you comment like this, you probably don't even need to post. Yeah. Now this post is from Stara Stello. She is this content person. I really like her profile and the way she shows up. And Jason Mana, like we said. So they are having a little banter here on comments. So if anybody of you think that you have good sense of humor, please use it. There are very few people who can do it well. So don't shy away from showing that side of yours. If you can do it well without offending people or without coming across as a jerk, then yeah, you can do it. That will easily make you stand apart if you can nail humor for yourself and for your people.
I'll just add my 2 cents here. Uh, just that even I am not like making content in LinkedIn, but I have been regularly commenting in a lot of profiles. Okay, so like I connected with Google employees just because of commenting. I have
Mm,
no such background of IT or something, but I have Google employee as my connects, and like a few higher ups in the marketing field as well. So and one of the person was very kind enough to coach me certain Google program as well. So it commenting really helps. Okay, and the inbound lead that I got from LinkedIn is also just because of my commenting game here. Nothing else. I got my client that I'm currently is for the inbound lead that I got for all commenting. So if you want
right,
that, if you are feeling very overwhelmed without with posting that I am currently feeling, but with Parna session I have some clarity now. I'll
right.
maybe post something about it. But then at least every day for 10 to 15 minutes of your time, just go and comment. If you do not have the clarity to make up a certain list that what kind of people you want to who comment, at least see the feed, and you are maybe most of the people are already following relevant people. You can just check them out and maybe write. The Mad at Woman, who is a very famous copywriter in Instagram, and maybe she is very unique in the copywriting game. She has literally engaged with my comment, and like it was a good kind of banter, like in LinkedIn. Though I don't have any content here in LinkedIn, but still she responded because she
Mm,
was like aligned with my view as for some particular post. So yeah, we had a agreement, and it was a kind of nice engagement there. So you never know. Okay, so what I tell is, at least if you are not posting, please comment. It really, really changes the game here.
sure, sure. True, and I completely agree. And kudos to you for getting a lead from comment. You should make a post about it.
I will. I have things in pipeline, bro.
Cool, cool. So, how some tips, general tips, how you can engage properly? Ask a question that promotes conversation to the author, to somebody reading the comments. You can go doing it both ways. Share your experience around the topic, whatever personal experience you have had around the topic. If you have experienced something like this, then you can talk about it. You can negate and give your reasoning. Now, very important thing is to, whenever you negate and you disagree, of
আমার
course you have
হোসে
to do it
বাকিগুলা
respectfully,
কর শুয়ে গেলি
that
যে
goes
আবার
without saying, but
কমপ্লিট
then
করে
you
ঘুমা এই
also have to
চ্যাপ্টারটা
give your
আজকে
reasoning why you think why you think that what you are
এক
saying is
চ্যাপ্টার
correct.
তোরা 5টা
So
দিয়ে
don't
কমপ্লিট
leave hanging it there ki
এমসিকিউ টা
this is not correct and
সেন্সিটাইভ
blaming
উপরে
and
ওইটাতেই
those kind of
মেজরিটি
things.
মার্কস
Of
আছে।
course we don't do those
এমসিকিউটা
things.
কি কর, দোষে দোষে ভুল করবি
So
সব মার্কস দিয়ে কাটিয়া।
disagree respectfully and then give your reason why you disagree with them. Adding
অবশ্যই।
meme, gif and graphics, this is another trend that I've noticed. And it I won't say that it is something that can bring you leads unless you are into graphics or into memes or something like that. But then it's just a fun way to stand out, and people do it, so no harm. Least recommended commenting style is summarizing, because it's been overdone now. Earlier, few months back, it used to work, but I don't think it works anymore. And of course, we are not going to talk about great post and great share. So yeah, this is how you can go about commenting. Now analytics is something again you guys have already seen. Now why I so one thing that people don't look into is people who view your profile. If somebody has viewed your profile, then there are higher chances that if they've seen your comments or they've found you through SEO or something like that. So please, what you can do is get back to that person and ask them that, hey, yeah, so certain profile visits you can see, right? Even for free users. So utilize that. Whatever is at your disposal, you have to utilize that. If I understand that not all users are available, so how you'll do it is you go back to them and send a connection request, personalized invite, and tell them that, hey, so and so, I noticed that you stumbled upon my profile. Is there something that I can help you with? Or I do this and this. Were you looking for these kind of services? You know, you can do that. That's acceptable because they came to your profile, and not like people don't go to random profiles now. It's LinkedIn. Never visible, that's not true. Why it will be never visible? I have done this without the premium account. The person is in my contact, though I didn't close the gig, but that person is in my contact. So what, so you just don't say like this now. You go and say ki what I said was, I'll just read it out to you. But it's a very old chat, so I must be able to find it quickly. Hey XYZ, hope you're having a great week so far. Oh, sorry. Hi XYZ, I saw you stumbled upon my profile. Are you looking for a copywriter in B2B space by any chance? Even if not, I am constantly looking for relevant industry leaders to connect with. Let's connect. Best, Parna. So they accepted the request, but I didn't close the gig because they were looking for a little more advanced writer back then. So this is how you can actually go back to them and talk with them. It's acceptable because you are not just pitching out of thin air. They visited your profile and this is what you're building upon. I hope I'm making sense. Sukanya?
Hey, sorry, I was going to my LinkedIn profile and checking what exactly it was showing so that I can share with you later. Because I have never seen any names. It only shows industry, like say any freelancing site. If I have, say for example, Upwork, I have done my profile. It's not yet optimized. I see few people coming up from Upwork. It only shows that in the means that platform or some say industry name or something. So I was going and checking whether there is any option so that I could ask. So
I don't know how it's not visible. Like abhi to I have started the premium trial only. So, but I did that a year ago, so that was definitely free.
I need to check if it is a setting thing because even for the services thing, no, I don't get the option to add services. I don't know why.
Creator mode is on, right?
Yeah.
So probably, have you by any chance, are you visiting other people's profile in private mode? There is a setting for there, so maybe because of that. I'll also have to look into it if it's an issue or what.
Okay,
With
that
your
I don't
profile
know whether it's in
particularly.
the private mode. I'll go and check then. Okay.
So visibility on is probably for SEO visible. Like if somebody searching outside LinkedIn, is your profile visible? So yeah, that is also a very good point, Priyanka. You need to put it. You need to keep it on, the visibility thing.
Okay.
So people outside LinkedIn can also have a look at your profile.
Okay. Fine. Thank you.
No worries, pleasure. Impressions is what you guys, everybody understands what impressions is. How many people have seen your post, interacted with it, reactions and comments, of course. Now, what I also want you to look into is demographics, industry. Yeah, we can 5 people. Demographics, industry, and geography. Demographics will give you, where these people like. How does it show? Let me just check that out. So industries, different industries that these people have been into, like your post, like who is consuming your post. If you go into post analytics, it will show you. Yeah, the company size basically. Company size, job titles, locations, companies and industries. So you need to remember these things. You just check it out so you understand who are the people who are resonating with your post. If they are your ICP, if they are relevant people who are looking into it. So these are the things that you need to look into. Repost is one very important metric. I don't know why people don't talk about it. If you have decent engagement, but the number of reposts is very high, your post will be trending. So, when you give CTA, if you think repost will be something that will be helpful. Now, of course, for repost, the content should be educational or something that is very resonant with most people, or you are providing something really valuable. So, people are, repost is a little hard to get, but if you can get it, then very nice. So these are the connection requests. This is something that I generally struggle with, but I've not done it through my profile. So these are something that has worked for my client. So this is the exact template that we used for his ICP, my client's ICP. They serve IT leaders. So I actually went back and researched each profile from the ICP and then came up with this personalized line, and then just went through their website and picked up something that made sense to me. So this is one kind of this kind of connection request that you can send to your ICPs. Of course, the bit will change up as per your service and industry, because you will have a time to look at it in detail because I'll be sharing the PPT. Yeah, so this is again another connection request. If somebody is posting on LinkedIn, then you can talk about their last post about something, and you can talk how you're passionate about the same things, and then you can ask for a call and you can just give them a little out. Sometimes a lot of people give a little out, no need to respond, no aggressive sales pitches. So the other person doesn't feel like tied down, or they don't feel that you are instructing them how to behave. So that's very important also sometimes when you are talking to new people, because everybody is different. So you will have a nice time to look into these templates. Wow, we are 2 hours into it. Okay, so feedback implementation is what you gather after looking at your analytics. Very important to understand how they are working for you, what kind of content resonates with you, what kind of strategy. For some people, lead generation works very well. For some people, storytelling works very well. So every profile is kind of unique, and you need to understand what works for you. For that, you need to post. You should have enough data to understand what works for your profile, because I have been doing it very recently, but abhi tak I've understood what works mostly for my profile. So you will get an understanding of it. Listen to your audience. Sometimes your audience will tell you what they want to read or what they want to consume from you. A lot of influencers, once you start connecting with them, they'll send you DMs that what should we talk about. So even they are doing it, so try to do it on your level also. I also try to do it on my level. Sometimes people even put polls, what do you want me to post next? That is also a good way, given that you have enough engagement on your post and people will respond. Post analytics, whatever they are telling you, whatever geography you are targeting, suppose you are targeting overseas clients, so are those people viewing your post? Is your post reaching to them? That's also very important to consider. Again, like I said, every profile is unique. Try to keep a balance between best practices and what works for your profile. Once you understand that, suppose I have shared something with you, and if you realize, if you experience that it doesn't work for you, then you should never ever follow what I'm trying to preach here, right? So understand what works for you and then do it. For that, you will have to put in some reps, you will have to post, you'll have to engage, and you'll have to give in time to understand what works for you. So Richard Vanderbloom is one profile who talks about LinkedIn algorithms specifically all the time. John Aspiran is one another profile. He also talks about LinkedIn. Pretty Little Marketer is another profile that you can follow to understand in general marketing and social media marketing. And she also talks about LinkedIn. So good profile to follow on LinkedIn. These are some tools to help you research. Taplio is one thing. Twamex gives similar to Taplio. Taplio is for LinkedIn. Twamex is for Twitter. Whatever is trending. X is Twitter because and people also people go to Instagram to get some post inspiration, come back and post on LinkedIn. This is how it works. LinkedIn writing, for LinkedIn writing, you can use authored up. Now it has turned into a paid tool. It gives you exact formatting of how it will look onto LinkedIn's screen, be it mobile, be it desktop view. Gemini is, of course, the AI tool. So it is better than ChatGPT in my experience. You would have a different experience, I'm not sure. So you can even use Gemini for helping in content creation. Of course, you try to edit it, or just don't copy paste, because a few people did it even with their profiles about section and stuff, and it looks really shabby, looks really unprofessional. I mean, at least I am not working with clients who want AI content. So if you want to work with people who need AI content or who want you to write through AI, then probably you can use these AI tools for and your entire content creation and everything. But otherwise, try to edit it and tweak it for your own words and your own personality. Visuals, of course, Canva, Figma, Vectizy is something that gives illustrations. So you can, there are like Vidzy and tons of resources where you can find these things. Idea capturing is one thing that I would recommend you guys to do. Sometimes when you're talking to people and when you're observing certain things, when you look at somebody's post, for example, you were just scrolling through LinkedIn and then you feel, oh, this post can do well on Instagram also for your own profile. Then you can just note it down somewhere. You can jot it. Okay, this is one thing that I want to cover about, that I want to talk about or cover. So try to do it. I use WhatsApp personal group, but then the problem with WhatsApp personal group is it's very hard to organize. So I won't recommend it, but then it's very handy. I have even written my entire LinkedIn post on WhatsApp. So yeah.
Parna, just a thing, the tool you talked about, authored up, like, is it freemium or like it is totally paid tool?
It would be free for a few. I don't know, because I used it like 2-3 months back, honestly, and after it's been turned into paid, so I'm not using it. So
Okay,
you'll just
any
have to.
alternative for that?
I'll look into it actually. Authored up won't have any, because it's very niche, yeah. So I don't think that it would have. Yeah, it's showing Clio. So Clio is also a very good tool.
Okay, thanks. I'll try out that.
Yeah, you can try Clio. It's a good
Yeah,
one. So,
sure.
like I said, the important pointers that I wanted to say was ki these are best practices and these work for most people, but then probably it won't work for your profile. So, you need to figure that out. And you also need to understand if your ICP is on LinkedIn or not. Basically, what happened was few months back, I was talking to somebody, some prospect, and then we realized that their ICP is not on LinkedIn. So, why even bother? See, if somebody has extra money and they want to pump into it, that's a different part of the story. But if your prospect has limited resources and they think that LinkedIn would work for them, so as a social media manager, you should be very clear and tell them clearly that, see, your ICP is not on LinkedIn. For example, a mental health professional that wants to target Gen Z, matlab 13, 14, 15-year old kids on LinkedIn are still a rare thing. Of course, it's catching up, but then it's still a rare thing. And more importantly, if you want to talk to them, then probably Instagram would be a more suitable profile for somebody like that. So that is also a question that you need to ask. Is your ICP on LinkedIn? And I have heard this from most people that LinkedIn is easier than other platforms. YouTube is very hard. Even Instagram is hard these days because countless creators are there. I have seen 16-year-old kids, very polished video. That guy has used AI to change the pitch of his voice. And it's such a clean video with so much confidence that okay, good night, Priyanka. I can totally understand. It's 10 p.m. already. Bye bye. Thank you for being here. So LinkedIn is still easier, and also LinkedIn has one advantage that it promotes text-based post. So you can use that to your advantage. You don't have to invest a lot of time. I think, at least for me, creating a written post takes less time than creating a carousel, because I'm not a visual person, just for that same reason. And so don't get into your head too much ki this will not work, what will work. For example, uh, the other day somebody was asking ki what is the benchmark of a good performing post, or what is the benchmark of uh, you know having how many leads can we expect. So don't get ahead of yourself. At least just try something and then you can talk about it. Right? It's as good as that you want to actually learn swimming, but then you don't want to step into the swimming pool. So please don't do that. And I think we are at the end of our presentation here today. Yeah. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me, obviously not on the email, but on the WhatsApp group.